Hello, everybody, and welcome to Fortress Comic News, episode 385. I am one
Wow.
of your hosts, Chris,
Wow.
alongside my co-host here, Mike.
Hey.
What's happening, Mike?
Nothing much. 385. We're getting up there. It's
Getting old.
getting old. Yeah. Shit. Yeah. Getting old. Yeah. Nothing really. Nothing crazy going on. I'm trying to think if I watched anything like any movie stuff. Haven't really. Not much going on.
No. I'm thinking of going to see Alien tomorrow.
Oh, I do want to see that. Romulus.
Yeah.
That shit looks terrifying.
Me and my pops were talking about it, but he has golf league on Monday, so we might not go, but I might even go by myself. I just want to go see that.
Dude.
And then I am going to see Beetlejuice this weekend.
Oh shit, I forgot that's out
Yeah.
too. Yeah. So Alien Romulus, fun fact, is the director of the 2013 Evil Dead.
Yes.
So you know that shit's gonna be crazy.
Which has me excited because I've read that it's kind of a back to basics for Alien.
Yeah, like a horror movie. Yeah.
Well, it's a haunted house movie again.
Yeah.
Like they say it's in a big space station, so it's a little bit more than the original, but still.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not this giant like action movie. Like I like the other one, like Alien 2 and Alien 3. I really like, but
those are action movies, so yeah.
Yeah, they're different. The first one's still my favorite. And
Ripley in a fucking mech suit fighting the alien queen. You're like, how did we get here?
Man.
You're like, how did we
so good?
And a flamethrower, like, what's going on? Yeah.
But dude, I'm feeling good. I got a haircut yesterday. I got a massage today. I am relaxed.
Oh, nice.
I am ready.
The dude who wears a hat all the time got a haircut, folks.
I got this all trimmed up too.
Nice. Yeah. Looking good. Looking fly. I had my voice is kind of shocked because I had a wedding last night. And, I didn't sleep much, but it was a good time.
I've been in full fantasy football prep because we have the comic book store fantasy football league draft.
It's coming up. Oh, it's tonight.
It's tonight.
Oh,
so once we're done recording here,
you're gonna duke it out.
Yeah, I'm gonna go have some beers with the boys.
Yep.
And then
and talk about football
and draft some football players into my team.
Yeah. Nice.
And then Friday.
Yeah, that was when that was the like the weird mesh of nerds coming together for sports, which is like, wait, you can have both these things? The comic book store football draft? Like what?
Well, what's funny is so we're 12 teams.
Yeah.
And my D&D group is 6 people. And 3 people from the D&D group, actually 5, because if you count me and the DM, are in the fantasy football league.
Yeah. Nerds uniting. It's like, wow, imagine liking more than just that. More like people are like football, people are like, you guys are a bunch of geeks. It's like, what do you think football fans are?
Dude, yeah. It's like baseball fans, man. Those are the biggest nerds on the planet.
Hell yeah.
I'm one of them. Like,
I fucking love stats.
I've seen some hardcore. Dude, you've been to live baseball games. Have you seen the guy with the sheet?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like,
I don't know what happens to a person, Chris, to get to that level, because I've never done it myself. Or how, like, if you get initiated and then you turn your sheet in at the end of the game, they give you like $5 off your next ticket. That shit, like, they must have been there since 1956 doing that, and they just haven't stopped.
Those guys are hardcore, man. I love it.
Oh yeah,
I love it.
They come out with the most ridiculous. Football's gotten pretty crazy with the stats, but baseball is always like, this is he's he's 15 for 20 in this stadium when it's partly cloudy and it was his mother's birthday. It's like, what?
Dude, the football stats are hilarious now, because if you listen to like shows about football now, they'll bring up these like new stats, and it's like this thing, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And there's some algorithm that brings it together. Yeah. And even the hosts are just like, trust me, it means that they're really good at this thing, and that's what they do really well. Yeah, I don't want to explain it because I don't understand it. I just trust people smarter than me.
Talking about it doesn't mean shit. It's like it was free ice cream day last year, and they hit 5 home runs, and they've hit 3 home runs today. So there's something going on.
Dude, that was like years ago. Whoever beat Philadelphia in their home opener went on to win the Super Bowl, and that stopped 2 or 3 years ago. I think it was. I forget who did it, but Yeah, like weird stats like that. I'm just like,
Yeah.
who's watching this?
And like, if you want to get really into like the mathematics behind stats is like their or correlation does not always mean causation, something like that. But you know, for us nerds out there, I love baseball, man. Yeah.
Oh, that's great, man. Yeah.
We also have a guest today, folks. And I'm so sorry that
Speaking of nerds, no, I'm just kidding.
yeah,
I love
no,
you, Daniel.
love Daniel. we always say nerd because he's a nerd for Broadway, and now he's adding it to his comics. So Daniel Calvin is back, and a little bit different than what he normally does. We're talking about a Sherlock Holmes and the Masquerade book. So it's a Phantom of the Opera Sherlock Holmes like thriller book. So the art is fantastic. Kickstarter pre-launch page is up, so go check it out.
Yeah, it's great. When he told me about this book, I was like, this is what I want to see from you. Like, this is more Daniel.
Yeah.
You know, this is what he loves superheroes. Don't get me wrong.
No, he does.
We've talked a lot of superheroes, but when his true passion lies in these kind of things, I was really happy to see him doing this book.
Yeah. No, I think it's awesome. Yeah, I think with that, why don't we just jump into it? I do have some TV stuff, Chris.
Okay.
Rings of Power. Oh, yeah.
I'll say my TV has been 100% football related, and nobody wants to hear about that. So
it's all right. I'll talk about Rings of Power, which is somewhat comic book nerd adjacent. So Rings of Power season 2 is out. It's like the origin story of Sauron, the Great Deceiver. And there's some things that they had to make up for the show they don't own the rights to. Basically, they don't own the rights to the first age, and we're talking about the second age, and they don't have the rights to the third age, which is the Lord of the Rings movies. But we're at the point now where some rings get made in the Rings of Power. So the rings are there. We get to see the conflict between the elves because like the elven world's dying. They're gonna they're planning on leaving because they can't keep it alive. Leaving and going to like their realm, their like heaven where they like pass on. But if they utilize the rings, they think they can, like re-spark the magic of the life force of their world. But they also know that Sauron kind of aided the one elf to build these rings. So they're like, do we want to risk it and like maybe be put under an evil spell or like save all of our humanity here? Because they know like if they leave, then there's nothing that'll stop the evil between the humans. They're like the humans would just be wiped out without us, which is true. I mean, we've seen Lord of the Rings, the elves are an integral part into this whole fantasy realm. But there's some like, conflict between the elves of like, no, we should, destroy the rings, move on. We shouldn't. So that's kind of where we're at. The cool things about it, Chris, though, because I don't think we have enough high fantasy in the mainstream. So that's kind of why I really appreciate. I'm not the biggest Lord of the Rings fan. I mean, I think I've become more of a Lord of the Rings fan because Katie is, these are her religious texts. So, and I say that because she recites quotes all the time, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's pretty cool.
Be cool if it was Batman.
Yeah. You want to watch Batman? No, okay. There's cool things going on here. Like we get to see the elven. It's not Rivendell. I forget what it's called. I'm sorry, everybody. But we get to see like the elf world in fall. So like something like that is like, oh shit, like, the leaves are changing. Everything's orange and like brown. And it's like, this is really cool because like just the shit going on in the background is like, it's like their realm is built around trees and inside trees. And it's just like really cool. And the other side of it, there's actually like the
sounds
first
like some wannabe Ewoks to me.
Yeah. So this episode is very Star Wars-esque, Chris. Because there's a wizard they follow, and they're in the desert. And I like the whole first season, it's a big reveal who the wizard is. It's Gandalf, everyone. I'm gonna tell you. It's
shocking.
It's Gandalf. Yeah.
Shocking.
I mean, can you imagine? Yeah. It hasn't been revealed, but he said some shit where it's like, okay, it's Gandalf. But they're walking through the desert, and there's a lot of the flutes and like the type of like cinematic music of like Star Wars and like A New Hope, which is really interesting. And then there's like there's people that with like these goggles and helmets, like watching them. Not like they're like they're not like goggles, but they're just like covered heads, and it's like they look like the Sand people, like the Tusken Raiders. And I'm like, at one point I wanted someone to start to be like, or like. So there, it was like a kind of an it's like you're seeing different parts of Middle Earth that you wouldn't normally see. And then we see like what happened with Sauron, where he was like deceived at first and killed, and then he comes back as like this evil like life force that starts like absorbing living things, and he regenerates himself, so he like can't be killed. So there's a lot of cool things going on. We don't get to see all the characters yet that we've seen in the first season, but it's good. I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff going on. Again, there's not enough high fantasy in the mainstream. I would say high fantasy with a good enough budget to do it right, with like the costumes, the backdrops to be like believable.
I'm not even the biggest high fantasy fan, and I would say you don't need to caveat it. There's just not enough I can't think of anything else.
It's like the Wheel of Time show. I don't even know if that's still going on. And then
is that high fantasy? I never watched it, so I don't know.
It's like and I wouldn't even know because I watched the show and there's not enough like dragons and like we had House of the Dragon, right? And then
it feels like we had Game of Thrones.
And
then House of Dragons just get canceled too?
No.
Am I imagining that?
No, I don't. It didn't get canceled. No.
Oh, okay.
I don't think so. No, it just wrapped up season 2.
Yeah, and then this kind of interweaves with that, but that's really it.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything else. So we've been depraved for a while.
Yeah, so good on the fans of that.
Yeah. But no, I really enjoy it. I mean, and here's the thing, like, there's always those fans, Chris. And I mean, I think you're kind of in the same sense of like,
I'm a Star Wars fan, Mike. I know there's always those fans.
You know those fans that are like, well, this is fucking shit. It's like, just enjoy that you have something, right? There's something being made. It's of the caliber of stuff that you like. Just enjoy it for what it is.
Listen, I even hated. Remember when we were talking about Acolyte episode 1, and I was like nitpicking about that fucking fire in space.
Yeah,
I hated myself in that moment.
I don't want to do this.
So I get it.
I become that guy.
Yeah.
No. And as I get older, I've really set the bar. My expectations are very low, and it's like just enjoy something. I've enjoyed shit on Rotten Tomatoes. That's 20%. I've enjoyed shit. I hated stuff on Rotten Tomatoes. That's 98%. So, you just gotta take it for what it is.
Yeah, I'm the guy that said like go into Borderlands just wanting a fun action movie and you'll enjoy it. And if you watch the internet, it's like the biggest piece of trash since Morbius. Morbius is the worst movie, everybody.
Yeah, right. It's Morbid time.
So yeah, I give it. I am very much the like low expectations guy. Like, let's just go in stuff. Yeah, Star Wars, a new Captain America movie, a Daredevil show. Like stuff is going to have an expectation bar, but I am very much like, let's just keep them low and just try to get something fun out of it.
And I don't think, I mean, just from how TV shows are shot now compared to how much freedom and time and money Peter Jackson was given in the past, you're never going to have something of that caliber of those Lord of the Rings movies. Those will always be something so epic, even just a part of cinema with like the realistic sets and they did a lot of the things Star Wars did where they built these miniature sets and filmed it that way. You're never going to see that. Like, think
of the risk that those movies were.
Oh my God.
Lord of the Rings was not a sure thing.
No, it was not. And
they gave him that money to film 3 movies.
3 4-hour fucking movies.
Yeah, back to back. Like they filmed that whole fucking thing all at once and said
release it. New Zealand, they're like, oh, well, we're going to send him across the world. Let him do like he had so much creative freedom.
In a parallel universe where that movie bombs, like Peter Jackson is not allowed anywhere near California.
Yeah, right.
He's making YouTube videos.
Right and I'll say it. I don't think Game of Thrones becomes a show. Like, no way. 0%. Game of Thrones would never been a show if Lord of the Rings wasn't that. I mean, we got those goddamn Hobbit movies. We don't talk about them.
Yeah, we don't talk about those. Game of Thrones. That was the best book of the 4. Game of Thrones was being people were trying to get the rights to Game of Thrones as a movie because of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
And give it up to George Railroad Martin for holding out for a TV series.
Yeah.
Now, he should have finished the fucking book first, but we won't go back to that, Mike. We're going to move on and be happy.
Yep, we're all going to be happy. But yeah, long story short, enjoy what you enjoy. And Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Yeah. Movie news. So before we get into this, I can't remember. Did we talk about the Sonic 3 trailer?
No, but we can. I'm all for talking Sonic the Hedgehog.
Did you watch it yet?
Oh, fuck yeah, I did.
And we have Shadow.
We have Keanu Reeves Shadow.
Keanu Reeves Shadow. Yeah, we haven't talked about this yet.
No. That dropped last week, so we wouldn't have.
Yeah. Are you pumped?
I like those movies, so yeah.
Oh, I think and having Jim Carrey come back as was it
Robotnik and Robotnik's dad.
Yeah, Robotnik.
I love that Jim Carrey has given all of Hollywood a giant middle finger.
Oh yeah.
And I think he's a kooky dude. Like I have my issues with him personally.
Yeah.
But for him to be like, fuck all of Hollywood. But yeah, I'll come back to play Dr. Robotnik.
Do you think he was like, you guys need to give me more money? And they're like, the only way we'll give you more money is if you play 2 roles.
I think they handed him the script and he's just like, yeah, fuck it.
Yeah, why not?
I bet you more than anything in his head, he's like, this will piss off the people who are like actually trying to cast me in good things.
We're like, why can't I get him for my biopic of George Washington? Like,
we wanted him for Rings of Power, man. Like, we'll do it.
He doesn't want to play an elf? He's not like the prosthetic ears?
Dude, so this trailer came out and I was like, I still haven't watched the Knuckles.
Yeah, me either. The TV show. Yeah. What do you need? Paramount Plus or some shit for that?
Yeah, which I definitely have, and not from a password sharing scheme.
That's all right.
Yeah, so I want to watch that too. But I think it looks fun. Like these Sonic movies are always a blast. Like there's plenty of call outs to the old games. I feel like this one's it has to heavily be influenced by the Sonic Adventure games.
Oh, for sure.
I would love to see more side characters come in. It looks like a fun time. I'm here for Sonic as long as they want to make them. If they want to do, I hope Sonic goes as long as the Fast and the Furious movies, and I eventually get Sonic the Hedgehog with Vin Diesel driving a car in space.
You don't want that because then The Rock's going to take over the franchise. And
who would The Rock play? What's that big dude that fishes?
Yeah,
Sonic.
I was just thinking that from Sonic Heroes.
Adventure.
He's like a big guy. He's got like big arms, right?
Yeah, he did the fishing mini game.
Oh my god!
What the fuck was the dude's name?
Don't give The Rock any ideas, dude. He doesn't need any more properties. It's a ruin.
Isn't he doing like Moana 2 or some shit right now?
I think so. And there's a live action Moana coming out at the same time.
Is there a live action one coming out?
I think so. Yeah, it's getting weird. We're doing live actions alongside the sequels of things. Yeah.
That's out of control.
The Rock's just
this dude, what's his name? His name would be Big the Cat.
Is it really just Big the Cat?
It's Big the Cat.
They couldn't find a name for him. They're
that's who needs to be played by
The Rock. All right.
Yeah.
That's how you end your Sonic franchise, because then they have to pay The Rock $1 billion every.
Oh no! Then you create a Big the Cat spin-off movie.
Oh my god!
And he fights Jason Statham, who I don't know who Jason Statham's gonna play. We're not gonna get into that one, but he fights him, and it's a whole thing.
Mm-hmm. And they call it the Rings of Power. But not those rings, the other rings. The other rings.
And that's when he smashes through the dimensions, and then Super Smash Brothers. Let's go.
Perfect. Nailed it. Another piece of movie news this week. During a discussion with a roundtable show, Robert Kirkman revealed that the Invincible live-action movie is still actively in development. Crazy. So here's the quote from him. "It's still in development." End quote. No, I'm just kidding.
I should have put that as the quote.
Yeah, we're still working with Universal. The show is going so well. I think the movie absolutely has to be perfect, and so it's taking a lot of time. Like getting the pieces aligned, getting everything to work so that we can come out and make it as good as could possibly be. So it's been in development for a long time. It's probably going to be in development for a while longer. So yeah, it's in development. It's going to be in development. It's always been in development. That's kind of hopeful, though. I mean, they got to understand that they have something amazing here.
They have a franchise here.
Yeah.
And I almost think it's smart to hold it from development, because if you can time it so that, like, the cartoon ends,
Right.
and then maybe a year or two later a live action movie comes out,
yeah,
and you could get like 3 or 4 out of this, that could be huge.
That'd be great.
Yeah, so I would love to see it happen. Like, it's obviously both of us one of our favorite comics of all time.
Oh yeah,
and
big time.
Just to see it come to life, what they could do with it, I just, there's so many cool things. My only concern is that they would do it and then it would just be spin-offed to hell.
Yeah. No, Paramount would never do that, Chris. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I'm not gonna look this up, but doesn't Universal, aren't they owned by Amazon as well?
Oh yeah, Universal and Paramount. Maybe. It's hard to keep track nowadays.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah. So we'll see.
Who the fuck knows? Yeah.
But yeah, I'm here for it. And I'm not going to ask you the question of who's going to play Invincible, because it's going to be 10 years from now.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know any young actors now, and I'm sure not going to know them 10 years from now. If I had to pick somebody like right now, like a gun to my head, I would say, honestly, I would love, well, I can't think of his name right now, the Spider-Man actor.
Oh, Tom Holland.
Tom Holland.
I would just keep Steven Yeun.
He's too old, I think.
No, he's young enough.
You think so?
Yeah.
Dude, I think you're thinking season 1 Steven Yeun from Walking Dead. He's not that young anymore.
Steven Yeun, an American actor.
40-something.
He's 40 years old?
Yeah, I was going to say, he's 40-something, dude. We're getting old.
I still think, I mean, yeah, it would come out for...
You got a high schooler for it? I mean, they do it all the time at CW. You got high schoolers with 5 o'clock shadows.
Oh, yeah. Well, just move them to college. It's fine.
Yeah. It was like, yeah. But I like you said, more Invincible. Never going to complain about that. You know, I love it.
How old's Tom Holland, by the way?
Yeah, now, Tom Holland's always going to be like Spider-Man 1 age. Like
exactly.
14. So how old is he?
He's 28, so.
Okay. He's almost 30? Fuck. All right. Then maybe we have to look for somebody else. Yeah, see, I already don't know who would play him because
What's the kid from Dune? What's his...
Timothy
Chalamet.
Chalamet.
Who is also 28 years old.
Damn. Why is everybody so old?
Just get Jason Momoa to do it. It's fine.
Yeah.
Or The Rock. You know.
The Rock. Yeah.
Fuck it.
Yeah. Dude, his head's so big, the goggles are just like fucking, you can't even put it on his head. It's like sitting on top of his head like a swimming cap.
The best part would be the wig, because you have to have the hair coming out of the top.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. Yeah. That would be amazing. The Rock would make it happen, too, if you gave him the idea. No, and
then you have to fight Henry Cavill Superman.
I mean, that's just it. You could have The Rock or Henry Cavill play the like Vulturemites. You just need some jacked motherfuckers for the Vulturemites.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if The Rock comes in, then it's like, well, now he's got to make a franchise of it. So then he's going to have his own Vulturemite movie.
Dude, if she wasn't dead, China would be. You remember the wrestler China?
Yeah, I remember the wrestler China.
Yeah, it would have been like perfect Vulturemite.
Yeah, damn. Or just like the whole cast of like American Gladiators from the 90s.
Dude, there's some documentary about that show on Netflix, and I refuse to watch it because I don't want to ruin anything.
I don't want to know. Yeah. Wait, you're gonna tell me that Laser was a bad guy?
Like, I don't want to know.
Blizzard.
Let me live in ignorance on this one.
They're the greatest fucking names.
You already ruined Nickelodeon for me.
Yeah, come on. I don't need to know anymore. Okay, let's get into comic news, folks.
Comics.
Marvel announced that this month's variants for their comics will be MCU covers. These covers will actually be pieces from Marvel Studios artist Ryan Menerding, who was a concept artist for the studio and is also releasing an art book of his work in October. That's really cool.
Yeah, some cool pieces. And it makes sense to like show some love to the MCU at this point.
Some epic shots.
I will not be getting any of these variants though.
No, yeah, because they're doing it for like everything.
There's like 8 books they're doing it for that I saw. But I'm such a cover A guy. Unless you put Rom on it, then I gotta buy every cover with Rom on it. But
something about like putting like actors' faces on a comic too is kind of like.
What's funny to me is I love this image. I think it's
it's a great image.
Piece of art. But other than Hulk, he goes out of his way to make sure you don't see any faces.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, they all have masks.
You see a silhouette of Thor, Vision's in the background, but everybody else has a mask on.
Yeah, it's true. I didn't think about that.
But if you remember back, I mean, you might remember back in the day. So like when Iron Man was first coming out, they used to flat out just take stills from the movie and make them covers.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
I hated that shit.
Oh, it pissed me off.
Yeah. Well, we know that Marvel planned on telling the Star Wars story of the Battle of Jakku through a trilogy of the series. The publisher announced this week the last series will be titled Last Stand. Showed the cover art for the issues and seemingly announced that Alex Segura will write the final series as well, being joined by the same artist for the previous 2 titles. So Alex Segura doing it. We have the 3 sections of the Battle of Jakku. The last one being Last Stand, which is very fitting, right? So that's cool. They have it broken down like that. And Alex Segura is still killing it, man. Dick Tracy to Star Wars. Wow.
Yeah. We've been talking a lot about these books with Insurgency Rising, Republic Under Siege, and I don't have anything new to say. Like, I'm going to get these books. They look really cool. I'm glad that they're treating the Battle of Jakku with some, like, love and care.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I like that this is kind of the do this through the end of the year so that in January we can really relaunch Star Wars again.
Restart it all.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool. I look forward to see what they have to say in December when we're not talking about the news on the show, Mike.
Yeah. Yep. No way. A month ago, Capcom announced that they'll be releasing the Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection on PC, Steam, PlayStation, and Switch in September. This week, they announced that people waiting for the physical release in October will be getting special pre-order bonus. That bonus will be, of course, a new comic prequel to the events of legendary Marvel vs. Capcom 2 game. That's a really cool perk. And it almost makes me want to pre-order it on the physical edition.
Yeah, and they did this before with Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Frank Terry wrote the comic for that, so
that's cool.
They're usually fun, like just exactly what you expect, like when Cyclops and Ryu fight.
Yeah. It's just like a lot of punchy, which is fine.
Yeah, but people have been looking forward to all this forever. It's gonna be a cool little trinket for them. I love that they're doing something with it, and it's really.
I think
I wish they would do like a real series. I wish that Marvel would just like bite the bullet and be like, let's do Marvel versus Capcom, like the comic.
Yeah, like let's like get into it.
Yeah.
Why are we here?
Because Capcom does. I mean, it's got to be licensing stuff. Because Capcom has comics, like they have Street Fighter comics out there.
Yeah.
I mean,
they got Mega Man comics.
Yeah.
So
and they could do something, but I don't know how all that would work in licensing. But it'd be cool if it happened.
It would be awesome. Maybe one day. DC announced a new Black Canary 6-issue series from writer Tom King. Oh boy. And artist Ryan Sook. Black Canary faces her toughest opponent yet, Lady Shiva, in a battle to determine who is the single greatest hand-to-hand fighter in the DC universe. Okay. I'll tell you right now, you don't need to read 6 issues. It's fucking Ted Grant, the Wildcat. What the fuck are you on about, Tom King? Who is the greatest hand-to-hand fighter in the DC universe? There's a man that, from the boxing ring to dressing up like a cat, and you question his abilities?
This man trained Batman.
Yeah.
On hand-to-hand fighting.
Yeah. And instead of he says "ta" with a T-A.
Who, by the way, would also beat up Black Canary if she didn't use her stupid little screaming thing.
Yeah. Anyways, to make it to the final round, Black Canary will need her fighting skill and ability plus additional training. Okay, from DC's most accomplished fighters, including Batman, Wildcat, and even her mother, the original Black Canary. Okay, so, but here's the thing. You have a story. Okay, Wildcat's mentioned in the... I didn't read ahead, but anyways, what I'm going to say here is, in the battle to determine who is the single greatest hand-to-hand fighter in the DC universe, and then you have that person trained by some notably better fighters than her, I'll tell you right now, she's not the best one. Right? Isn't this how this goes? What is this like $1 Million Baby as a comic? Because I'm out.
That's exactly what it seems like to me.
Christ.
Like when I was looking at the preview art for it, I was just like, this is like that movie I did not watch because it doesn't seem interesting.
I just don't like Black Canary.
I don't mind Black Canary. Like when she shows up, I'm fine with it. But
yeah, I mean, like
I'm not going to read a solo book.
They're like, we need to do 6 issues of this character. Who do we get so people will read it? Tom King.
To be fair, we're the only 2 people on the internet that don't like Tom King.
I don't. And it's like, we've tried so, like, we must be wrong. Something must not be clicking.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, man.
This is one of those books that, like, when I saw it, I was like, nope. And the only way that they could have, like, gotten that no to a yes is if they got, like, somebody I loved. Like, if Hickman wanted to do it, or Brian K. Vaughan wanted to do it, or something, someone of that caliber, then I'm like, fuck, I guess I'm buying a Black Canary book. If
you would have told me this was a 24-issue Wildcat series, I would have been in.
Oh, 100%. I would have cut whatever book I had to cut to get a Wildcat.
But they won't give us that, Chris. They won't give us the Wildcat book.
So, speaking of Wildcat, even though he's not in this book at all, allegedly, Just Society of America 11 comes out next week.
Allegedly? Yeah.
I don't trust until it's in my hands.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I wish we didn't see that coming either, but anyways.
Don't worry, there's a new one coming, Mike. You'll be happy soon.
Yeah. DC Comics announced that reprinting the seminal Suicide Squad run from 1987 by John Ostrander, Len Wein, and John Byrne, an omnibus from this October. I'm losing my voice, sorry. The first volume will feature the first 18 issues of the series, the 6-issue series Legends, the one-shot Secret Origins and Suicide Squad, Secret Origins 14, as well as Ostrander's Doom Patrol and Suicide Squad Special. And I think I have a couple of those trades on my shelf. They're somewhere from the
Ostranders.
Yeah, it's good stuff. It's a war comic with the Suicide Squad. I mean, it's fine. It's great. It's really good stuff.
It's one of those books everybody talks about as like one of the best, ever. Blah blah blah. I never read it, but I'm glad to see it kind of coming into some sort of new reprint.
Yeah.
I think it's hilarious that it's volume 1. How long does this fucking Suicide Squad book go on, man?
Yeah, come on. Volume 1 omnibus. You couldn't fit it all in one.
Yeah, I mean, I get doing 3 of Rom. Listen, Rom deserved 3.
Of course he did. Yeah. Whatever you say, man.
Yeah. No, I would like to read it one day, but do you want to take a guess on how much this omnibus costs, Mike?
If it's like the others, 150?
125.
Okay, yeah. Maybe
and since I already way surpassed my omnibus budget for the year, because I bought 2 Rom the Space Knight omnibuses, and I think a third one's coming out this year, and there's 2 Marvel versus DC omnibuses coming out, I'm not going to be getting this one.
Yeah. I think the only next omnibus I'll buy is this Batman 66 one, and I think that's gone up in price from when it was released. So,
it's funny because when they announced ROM, I was like, because I had gotten the Invincible, they call them compendiums, but they're omnibuses.
Right. They're omnibuses.
Just call them fucking omnibuses.
Yeah.
I got those. Got really angry there for a minute, and was like, no more. I don't want any more omnibuses. I'm not really a big fan of them.
Yeah, but they're hard to read.
And just there's so much money for like what they are. And then they announced the ROM ones. I'm like, well, I gotta get the ROM ones because who knows if they'll reprint them regularly. So I got those. And then Marvel and DC are just like, hey, everybody, guess what? We're gonna reprint all of our crossovers that we haven't reprinted in freaking 30 or 40 years in an omnibus. So I'm like, fuck, I gotta buy those.
Damn it. Got me again. Yeah, don't you hate when they do that?
So hopefully there will not be an omnibus coming out in a while because
I
I'm
hope so. I hope so. I hope
kind of
not.
satiated with my on the buy right now.
I'm to buy. Plus, they take up a lot of fucking space.
Yeah.
Oh shit. DC trading cards. I don't need any more trading cards in my life. DC announced that for anyone buying DC All-In titles as well as Absolute Comic titles this October, you're getting a free DC Comics trading cards from your local comic shop. Damn. Collectible trading cards, everybody. They're definitely going to be worth a lot of money, so hold on to them forever.
Oh yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I gotta find my Marvel Comics Krakoa trading cards.
Oh, love it. I think I mean it's gimmicky, but I think this shit's fun. Like more of this stuff with comics, you know.
I like when they give away things with like both companies used to do it. I still have on the shelf over here, like when DC did all the rings.
Yeah.
I like Marvel did like a bouncy ball eye with Original Sin.
Yeah.
They did a little cosmic cube for one of them. I forget what it was. Like stuff like that's fun. Just do it. It's fun. I like it.
Comic creator Corey Perkins announced this week that he's teaming with artist M. Arif Ruzanto and colorist Mariam Yasser to bring Ernest P. Worrell to comics. Oh my god. With a new title, Ernest and the Dreamstone. The comic will not be available through a publisher, but instead is going to an independent comic route with a Kickstarter campaign. Oh, wow.
Are you an Ernest guy?
I didn't grow up on Ernest. I know of Ernest. I did not grow up with Ernest, so it was a little like after I grew up, I saw Ernest, and I was kind of like, "What the fuck is this?" I understand. Yeah,
I've never watched an Ernest movie in my life.
Me either. But the people that grew up with Ernest are very earnest about it.
Well, it's funny because Corey, I was reading what he was saying about it.
Yeah,
and he was like, he's like a huge fan, and he even goes into like one of the reasons I wanted to do this and I wanted to do it right was because I think one of the things that comics does so well is like tap into our nostalgia.
Yep.
And it's at a point where Ernest is like at its peak nostalgia and it's time to tap into it. And I'm like, you're right. Like I know so many people who bring up those Ernest movies, they freak out.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where like, it's one of those series of movies where when I tell people I've never watched it or seen any of them, they're like, how have you never seen an Ernest movie when he goes to camp? And I'm like, I don't know, guys. Like I didn't.
Yeah, it just didn't. I wasn't there for it. Yeah. And dude, this Kickstarter is going to make $100,000.
Oh, this is going to be the biggest Kickstarter of the year.
Yeah. You got Corey Perkins. You got Ernest. The art's already fantastic. Santa's art and Yasser on it. It's going to be a six figures easily.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He put out a trailer for it on his YouTube, so you can search for that, everybody, if you are interested in it. But yeah, I think this is going to be the biggest Kickstarter of the year, hands down.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Good for Ernest fans. Good
for Corey. Get that money.
Good for Corey. Mad Cave Studios announced a new series titled "The Missing on the Moon" from writer Corey Carter and artist Damian Cuchero. Pretty cool art. The year is 1997, and crime on the moon runs rampant. All right, Chris, you're in. And in the lunar colony of Bustown, a billionaire's daughter's just gone missing. Washed-up private investigator Daniel Schwinn is tasked with finding the missing child, but in the process discovers a dark conspiracy stemming back decades. Schwinn will have to navigate a world of undead drug addicts, mechanized robocops, and blue-skinned Soviets known as Darksiders to discover the truth. In doing so, he'll have to confront his own allegiances and trying to atone for the past mistakes since resurfaced. Wow, this has a lot of your shit going on.
Yeah.
They said Soviets in space, robocops, and crime noir.
Yeah.
It sounds really good, though. I might have to check this out, too. That's a really interesting concept.
I'm wondering if it's a typo or if they're doing like a weird like past future thing, because in the year 1997.
Yeah. Yeah, what's so significant about 97? You know,
I think this is an alt history thing.
Yeah, like we made it to the moon and then stayed there. Yeah.
So that adds another layer to things I love, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think this book sounds great. I like the art that they put out
cool.
for it. It looks like a lot of fun. Mad Cave just killing it on all fronts, unless we count the next book we're going to talk about. But but yeah, I'll be reading this book, hands down.
Yeah, so there we go. Mad Cave Studios announced a new series titled String from writer Paul Tobin, artist Carlos Oliveras. Yoon Suk Namgung is a 25-year-old Korean-American woman with remarkable ability to see two types of strings connecting various people. The first is blue and stretches between sexual partners. The second, dark black, connect as murderers with their victims. If you have a murder that she needs solving, Yoon can help. Worried your partner is cheating on you, Yoon can literally see the connections. Yoon's life, for all the drama and constant TMI, is good, at least until the day she knows a black string connecting to herself. This means she'll either murder someone or murdered herself, so dang, which one? I think murdering yourself is called suicide, Chris.
Yeah, there's a word for that. We don't need to work around it.
Yeah.
It's got huge YA vibes.
Yeah, big YA vibes. I'll tell you right now, the fact that it's a Korean-American character, there is a very large population of K-drama fans in the U.S. I know because some reside in my family, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
So while this definitely is not for us, I do think that's cool that they're tapping into that in the comics medium. Like Mad Cave is like, oh, I can certainly say I've never seen anything like this in any publisher today.
This is going to have a market and people are going to like it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's important that like not everything they do is going to be for me. Like there's a lot of books they do that are not for me.
But this is smart, I think.
Yeah, and this is good, and I think that people are going to enjoy it. I saw the preview pages for it and everything, and I was like, it's just so far out of my wheelhouse that I just don't see it ever being.
This is almost. I mean, we're almost trying to tap into the manga.
Well, there's also this market, that we don't talk about as people, but like I've noticed it a lot recently, and that's women specifically who like what I call dirty girl novels, which are basically smut novels that just have some overarching story to go along with it. But it's really just an excuse to get from one moment of having sex to another.
Well,
and I feel like this has a hint of that in it.
And this is and it's funny because if you go to Barnes and Noble, you'll see the table with all those books because it's the same color scheme as we're showing on the video because it's like there's literally the same blues and pinks and that type of. So you're right, they are tapping into that a little bit with how they do the title. So. And they're all one word, or they're all like cheesy catchphrases, like "oh, set sail." And it's about the sailboat captain, So yeah, they're tapping into that too. But good for them, man. Mad Cave is they're very smart here.
Well, and I want to point out too that when we talked to Michael Oming, one of the things he mentioned about going to Mad Cave and doing that Galaxy of Madness book was that he saw that they were doing things on multiple markets, like not just hitting the traditional comics market, but hitting like places that people don't talk about or see.
Yep.
And he thought that was important because he could see his book getting into other avenues and getting new eyes on his work. So this kind of lends to that.
Yep. No, I think it's cool. Not for me, but it's cool. With that, let's talk about what we read this week, Chris.
I read some stuff.
I'll talk about some manga really quick. So I started the Elden Ring manga. I don't know if I told you I acquired those.
Yeah.
So Chris, I didn't know it was a comedy book. It's so literally the first page or the first chapter is you thought this would be serious. That's the name of the chapter 1. And so I almost think you would like it. It's hard to find right now, but so the tone of it's comedic, and it's like not fourth wall breaking, but like there was a fourth wall break and they like acknowledge it. But it's basically this guy. So Elden Ring, like any Dark Souls game, you start and you have nothing and you talk to these NPCs. So he starts and there's all the lore from Elden Ring, the characters, their personalities, the quests that you're tasked with. And I'm almost done with the first volume. he like gets greeted by the first NPC, and he's like, why are you talking to me like that? Like, I literally just woke up in a jail. Like, can't like just answer my questions. Like, why are you talking about the Elden Rings and this great overarching? He's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And so, and even to the point of like, so you get these Estus flasks or like flasks to heal yourself in the game, but you start in your underwear, and you know, like your inventory in a game, you never question it. You're just pulling shit out left and right. But the mage lady that picks him like sticks the flask to his like ass cheeks, so he like that's how they stick to him. You know what I mean? 'Cause it's very manga like humor, but he wakes up passed out near a bonfire, and like these like bottle flasks or like suction cup to his ass. And he's like, who stuck these here? And then he finds out like they heal him. But like that's the tone of the book, and it's like he like goes around and he like sees some of the mini bosses in the open world, and he's like, oh, maybe they could help me, and they like fucking like, you know, send him flying and shit. It's like actually hilarious.
I gotta say, I respect that.
Yeah,
I respect the hell out of that.
Yeah, and it's so funny that like he's the chosen one. So like the mage lady's like, oh fuck. And so she's like, I'm supposed to help you level up, because in the game you go to her to level up, and he's like, oh, I just want to do a strength build, because that's like everybody always does a strength build, and you tank. She's like, oh, I know, I gave you all intelligence to make you smarter, because he's a fucking dumbass. Like, it like doesn't help. It's like stuff like that. It's really funny. And then they even get into like the first main boss of the world is Godric the Grafted, and like the lore is like he just ripping apart like his people that he rules over, and he like grafts these like fucking humanoid creatures and shit. But like they like cut to him in his court, and he's like showing off all these new pieces, and they're like, oh, they're great, my lord. And he's like has like an art gallery going on, and he's like, nah, they're all boring. And it's just like his backstory. It's just hilarious, the tone, and like I didn't know what I was expecting, and there's a lot of video game like jokes in there too about NPCs and shit. It's really hilarious. I'm so like, I think I know why it sold out and became so popular, because there is that humor in those games too. There was a lot of like the community writing messages on the ground and like making like stupid sayings and shit like that. So it's really good.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's like a Delicious in Dungeon humor. If I had, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like some of that stupid shit going on. Yeah, it's like
I respect that. Like they had a choice here. Like the obvious choice is to do the serious, like let's do the lore of
do the
Elden
guts,
Ring
do the guts book. Yeah,
Well, honestly, like that would have. I probably would read that, because I've always said like the two things about Dark Souls games that I respect and like is art direction and their lore. But I suck at video games, so I can't play them. So that would have got me in the door.
Yeah.
But seeing this, like,
it's really good.
I almost want to read that more, because it's such a ballsy move.
Yeah. And he's like, why does everybody keep repeating the same shit? Because they're like NPCs, and they're like trying to guide him on the quest. He's like, I don't want to do any of that stuff.
Yeah, because I could see that like pissing off the fan base too.
Yeah.
And like an alternate timeline where people are like, why the fuck would you do this? Like,
yeah. But I think they've all kind of embraced it, which is awesome.
Yeah. Much respect to that publisher.
Yeah. And like I opened and when it said, I bet you thought this would be serious, I was like, oh, okay, that's what they mean. And like the art is amazing, the writing is really smart. So like they took a lot of care with it, but that's awesome.
Cool.
Okay, some other stuff I got through. I caught up on Epitaphs from the Abyss 1 and 2. I really love the stories. I think they're really creepy. Something to note in issue 2 was the really depressing, sad zombie story. Did you read that one?
I haven't read 2 yet. No.
Okay, so there's like a zombie in the supermarket staring at like baby food, and like can't remember why she was in the supermarket, and then like gets her head cut off by this family like raiding the supermarket, and then she's like still trying to remember why she was there. Like, it's really depressing, but it's like, it was a smart story. All those stories are great. I read DC versus Vampires World War V. You talked about that one. I thought it was an awesome issue, and I like the humans just can't really do anything. They're just caught in the middle. Like, yeah, your vampires are fighting. I don't know what you want us to do. Like,
yeah.
Good luck. I read Wolverine Revenge 1, and I read the Red Band issue. I'm not sure what the difference was, because I didn't read the other issue. the non-red band version.
I did the same thing. I did both for Blood Hunt.
Okay.
Because I wanted to know the difference.
Yeah.
And I found that it's negligible. So I'm like, just get the red band. Like,
yeah, just get the red band. I thought the story was really good. What you talked about, the final image of Wolverine after he regenerates was fucking sick.
So good.
That Greg Capullo art of him, I was like, I'm in. I'm reading a Wolverine book, folks. That's it. That's all it took.
Yeah.
That was such a cool story. I read Gotcha Man 2. I think you talked about that already.
Mm-hmm.
I think the characters are great. Them turning the spy thing on the villain at the end, like, oh yeah, we'll plant somebody under there, was a really smart twist. It's a really fun book. If you guys aren't reading Gotcha Man, read it. I think those are the ones I had to catch up on. The newer stuff I read. Oh, Batman 151. Did you read that?
Yes.
Chip Zdarsky and Hawthorne.
Been
oh yeah, I think that was a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good issue. You know, Batman and Catwoman trying to get the mother box.
That's right.
Yeah, they're fighting the Suicide Squad. And it kind of looks like they're trapped. Like Amanda Waller hid the mother box with all her other shit that she worked, like her, you know, her family and origins. That was kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I like that issue a lot. Nemesis Rogues Gallery #2 came out this week. Nemesis gets a sidekick. And he's starting to hurt, like, he's starting to like hurt some, like, get some cool tech to fight back with. Yeah, they're like, he's like, so Nemesis is getting back at the people that hurt him, but the sidekick he plants as a billionaire, they take over the identity of a billionaire and like plant him as a tech billionaire, which is like really smart. I thought that was a cool idea. This book is crazy. So if you like Nemesis, keep reading that. Dark Knights of Steel, Allwinter #2.
I didn't get to that one yet.
I thought it was a great second issue. It's gonna be spoilers if I don't want to
go for it.
Okay. So the kid, you know how the kid is like so we get to see more of he's in color and everybody else is in black and white.
Mm-hmm.
So his name is Alec. And they have talked about him being like, I think he's like Green Lantern, like Justice Society Green Lantern.
Mm-hmm.
So that was pretty cool. Or like Alan's, I don't know if he's. So they said his name's Alec, which I would have thought Alec Holland, like Swamp Thing.
That's what I was thinking.
And they said it's tied to the green. But like the way he does his powers, it didn't look like Swamp Thing. It was more like Green Lantern. But you'll read it for yourself. But I think it could be like like he's supposed to get rid of the winter. So I really think he's supposed to be Swamp Thing. Either way, I'm happy with either one of those. But him being Swamp Thing is fucking awesome.
It's been a minute since I read the last series, but the Green Man, wasn't he connected to the Green somehow? Or was that a Green Lantern thing?
That was a Green Lantern thing.
Yeah.
So
it'd make more sense for it to be Swamp Thing.
Yeah. So basically, Slade Deathstroke gets in a position where he has to take care of the kid himself. So that's kind of the story moving forward.
What about the Aquaman?
The what?
They do more Aquaman story? Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, someone else shows up. And then the last book I got to this week was Black Panther versus Predator #1 by Benjamin Percy and Chris Allen. Did you read this?
No.
So the story is so the Predators they're two brothers Predators, and there's one's like scrawny and a terrible predator, and the other one's like the alpha predator. And the father of them, the king, has a spear made out of vibranium, and like he gifts the spear to the older brother, and so the younger brother's jealous, and he's like, you know, why doesn't he see me as a great warrior? So he starts scanning the universe for more vibranium. And he finds out, oh, there's a huge slew of it in Wakanda. And there's a dude that wears vibranium armor. So I'm going to go there. And so that's basically the first issue is Predator lands in Wakanda because he wants vibranium armor for himself. Because he's like, well, a spear is just one thing. But if I get the armor, I could like face my brother. And that's, it was a was a great first issue. The way they tied it together and like it fits. I mean, like, because Black Panther is like an awesome predator himself. So like, yeah, it's really good. I really like the first issue. It's fun. It's fun. Yeah.
So the obvious transition would be to do another crossover like that, but I want to save that for last.
Okay. Yeah. And I know what it is. I haven't read it yet, but
yeah.
Yeah, you can go ahead now. That was all I got to this week.
I'll start. Just a real quick one is Frank Herbert's Dune, the graphic novel.
Nice.
Part 1.
Yeah.
Of 3.
Of 3? Oh boy.
This is the most faithful adaptation they could have done.
Yeah.
Like down to the chapter.
Wow.
Um,
is that all book 1?
Yes, this is just book 1.
That's just all book 1. Okay.
And I think book 3 is like twice as big. Like they're hefty graphic novels, man. Yeah, this is probably close to 200 pages.
Wow.
But they're really well done. So I read the first one. I'm going to take a break before I get into the second and third one. But I really liked it. If you're a Dune fan and you're a comic fan, or you've never read Dune because you don't like, you like prefer pictures, Mike.
Yep, that's me.
This is a great way to get the original story as faithfully as humanly possible. At least so far in book 1, because this leads up to, this basically ends where the movie does, the first movie that is, and then it looks like the second book is going to be, I still haven't watched the second movie yet. I'm a bad Dune fan, but it looks like the second and third book are going to be the second movie. So,
oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and I'm kind of hoping, because it's so Brian Herbert and who's Frank's son, and Kevin J. Anderson have been teaming up to do a bunch of Dune stuff over the years. They did a bunch of the prequel books.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping they keep going and just do the whole Dune series.
That'd be cool.
Boom is doing the stuff they wrote, so all the prequel stuff.
Okay.
This is Abraham's Comics Art is doing this, and I would like to see them keep going, do like Child of Dune and Dune Messiah and all those other books. So, Paranoid Gardens #2.
Nice.
Gerard Way. There is some huge mystery around this like retirement home, because we get a sequence of like one of the doctors wants to sneak somebody in, but it has to be done the right way, or else like the land won't let them in. And then we just see a bunch of things, like a bunch of the mysteries happening all around are slowly unveiling throughout the issue. And like, this seems like one of those books that when it's done and I go back to, I'll understand way more. But for the first read, it's interesting because he's just got a lot going on, and he's trying to keep a lot under wraps while telling the story. So I kind of respect that he's doing that, but it can be difficult to understand at times.
Okay.
And then there's this whole plot with like the superhero came and knows one of the nurses there, but like everybody's really concerned that they know each other that's running the place. Mm-hmm. So that's like the big mystery behind it all.
Cool.
Marvel 80th anniversary special.
Wow.
It was okay.
Oh, just okay.
So basically, like, we're in the far-flung future, and we're at this museum, and it's like the museum of the heroes, the Age of Heroes.
Mm-hmm.
And some alien race is like trying to destroy it along with Earth, but they're taking the tour and like pretending to be tour guides, and Wolverine and Deadpool are there, and nobody recognizes them because it's like thousands of years in the future.
Okay.
And each time they get to like a part in the museum, they play a hologram, which is then a story in the book. So like there's a short story about Captain Britain, there's a short story about Spider-Man, and so on and so forth. And it's interesting enough in the overarching. It feels more like just a anthology, excuse to do an anthology book than anything. Than this like big thing that they hyped up to be this.
Yeah, they wanted to actually take care for, like make it a big deal.
I think the best story in it is a story of Kamala Khan as like a grown woman, and she becomes the Herald of Galactus. But like she agrees to do it on behalf of Earth, because if she does it, Galactus won't eat Earth, so she has to go around like figuring it out, and then she's trying to do it, the right way. Other than that, the other stories were okay. Phases of the Moon Knight #1. Speaking of anthology, there's 2 stories in here. One takes place in modern continuity and is real quick. And it's basically like the Shroud, who's the current Moon Knight. Even though Moon Knight's back, but in the regular book, the Shroud took over as Moon Knight. It's him like going to Mark and trying to gain redemption and being turned away. So that's why he decides to go be Moon Knight so that he can prove to Mark that he deserves redemption. That was whatever. The interesting story was the second story, which was a crusader from the Middle Ages who's like, spreading Jesus through all the land by killing people in Africa and shit.
No, that's cool.
And during this, he like gets stuck in a sandstorm, and Khonshu comes. And as he's doing it, he's telling the story about how like he doesn't like doing what he's doing. Like he's doing it because he has to, not because he believes that this is the right thing to do. And when Khonshu comes, he's basically like, I don't want to be servant to another god that I don't believe in. And so he turns around and says no. And then immediately walks into the pyramids where Apocalypse is building pyramids. And it's just like, fuck. All right, Khonshu, like, I'll do it.
Let's do it, bro.
And he has to use that power to defeat Apocalypse.
That's cool.
I'm hoping
that should be the story.
Yeah, like, keep doing those kinds of stories. Like, the current one didn't do much for me. Saga #68. The little girl found a friend. I don't know what else happened in this book. Dude, I'm getting so sick of this book.
There's a reason I read Allwinter before Saga this week.
Yeah, like...
That's not good. When Saga's not my first read anymore, Chris, like, that's not at the top priority.
It's teetering on the cut from my pull list.
Yeah,
that's not good. That's where we're at, Mike.
Yeah, I know. I don't blame you. I really don't. Like,
yeah, it sucks, dude. It was so good for so long.
What are we doing here, anyways?
And I think he said it's going to be 150 issues.
Oh, fuck me.
I could be wrong about that. I'd have to look back at that quote, because if it's 100, I might stick through it.
Yeah, 150. We're not even halfway done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways,
Barbaric versus Deathstalker, Mike.
Oh yeah, I gotta read that.
It's good, but for the barbaric parts. And to be fair, both creative teams are working on this, but it is much more a barbaric book than a Deathstalker book.
That's what I want to hear.
Yeah. So like, the setup's awesome because Alex and his friends are on the beach taking a vacation. And that's when they get like sucked into this alternate universe by this wizard, along with Deathstalker, to fight to the death. And both barbarians are just like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah,
this is dumb. Awesome. Why would we do this? And it creates this whole thing where they have to like finally team up and everything. But it kind of sideswipes the typical crossover where like the two come together and fight and then they decide.
They're like, nah, we just don't want to do it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's a fun one shot. Like, it's everything you expect it to be, but there's just great moments throughout it. And the Axe makes some really fantastic boner jokes that I will give a thumbs up to.
Awesome.
I'm a big fan of boner jokes, Mike.
Big fan.
And then I want to end with Aliens versus Avengers #1.
Yeah. That was the one I was gonna get to, but I had to read the Black Panther first.
It's so good.
Nice.
So it's a like alternate future where aliens come to Earth, and you can tell he pinpoints it right in the middle of his Krakoa X-Men run.
Okay.
Because he mentions Krakoa.
Yeah.
And at that point, that's when the aliens come to Earth and they destroy everything. And then we just fly into the future, and you have some of the Avengers left in this city that's like protected from the aliens. And it's them trying to figure out what to do. And the big hero for the first issue is Valerie, Reed Richards' daughter, because she thinks she can create something to defeat them. But of course, it goes horribly wrong because it's a 4-issue series.
Of course. And
we got to create drama. Dude, somebody needs to call Hickman. I just want one-on-one, man-to-man. It's okay to just take a paycheck, man.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Right.
You didn't need to go so hard on the Aliens versus Avengers title.
Yeah.
I'm glad you did. That's why I love you.
Right. You could just have them fighting each other.
But you could have just collected the paycheck, man.
Yeah.
Nobody would have blamed you. I don't understand why he went so hard in this book, but you'll see when you read it. You'll be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's crazy.
It does not deserve to be this good.
Yeah, that's awesome. I can't wait to
I
read
loved it, man. Yeah, he does so much world building. You can pinpoint. You might have a harder time because you don't read like as much Marvel as I do.
Right, yeah.
But like I could pinpoint where he was setting things and veering off.
This was the plan the whole time with the Kirko.
Yeah, like seriously, man. It's really good.
That's
Everybody,
awesome.
if you're a fan of either of these titles, pick it up. It's really well done.
Yeah, I can't wait to read it.
So, Mike, that was everything I read this week. Where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me at Fortress Ricker on Twitter. Where can they find you or the show?
Find me at Fortress Chris on Twitter and chriscomicscorner.substack.com for some of my musings. And you can find the show at fortresscomics_ on Twitter or at fortresscomicsnews.com.
I like that name better. Twitter.
If you want to support the show, you can subscribe, share, comment down below on the YouTube version of this show. And you can also leave a 5-star review on podcatchers. Or you could go to patreon.com/fortresscomics to be super special. Thank you all so much for watching and or listening this week. I will see you all here next week.